Okay, so I think first things first on the podcast, since you are a power slap athlete, and you could even talk about the status of that as well and your future plans, things like that, because let the audience know. But the intricate details that you were just talking about of power slap, for someone watching it who's not in it like you are, tell the people what they need to know about power slap.
Well, first of all, it's definitely a sport. Like you look at it and it's entertainment too. Definitely, don't get me wrong. There's an entertainment aspect to it, but it's it's big time sport. So you start looking at biomechanics, right? You look at how the athletes move, how their hips are moving, how they're bracing their core, looking at their neck strength and jaw strength, and like then you're like, oh yeah, like again, these are athletes. You know what I'm saying? So the big thing is I want everybody to know, and I just keep saying again, this is the sport, you
Yeah.
know.
100%. I mean, I would agree with you. I would definitely agree with you. What are so when we're talking about neck strength, jaw strength, some of these things that is required of a power slap athlete, and then you being a trainer, kind of blending those things in together. Talk a little bit about the training protocols for a power slap athlete.
Well, up until becoming a power slap athlete, I never really trained my neck, jaw, like those kind of things. As I got into the sport, I quickly learned like those are important. Um, if you look at jaw strength and how hard you can bite down on the mouth guard, that makes it so that the jaw, right, doesn't have that little bit of wiggle room here. Because once it has that little bit of wiggle room, it's got to think like a whip effect. It's going to go, whoa. And then this part where the concussion normally happens goes, right, in a
Oh.
very springy like motion. That's what like causes the concussion. So a big part of it is jaw strength. Like if you can bite down hard enough on that, then you can keep your jaw, your mouth guard from sliding left to right. Right. That's a big part of it. Then the neck part of it, right? If it has this big whip effect to it, then you would probably have to work on like lateral neck flexion, right? Those kind of things. You want to work on, your side bend, up and down extension. Um, yeah, to make sure that your neck is as strong as possible for absorbing those shots. And the way you have to bring your whole system together is through your core. Obviously, like our core, like it initiates a lot of those movements. So not only am I biting down, right, and then like kind of keeping my neck in a very tight position, but I'm also bracing my core. And once I start bracing my core, then that really gets all those things, even cervical spine and like thoracic spine, and like all the way down to your lumbar spine. It gets everything to lock in tight. So now when I'm taking that shot, boom, I have less of that whip effect recoil that causes that concussion.
So one more quick one for me, and then Andrew, I want because I don't want to do all of them in a row, but like when I come across your page, right, Power Slap, it's clearly you're on the Power Slap roster and you're, advertising that you're Power Slap and whatnot, but you're taking the training very seriously. So how many Power Slap fighters or athletes, do you call them fighters? What is the correct terminology?
It could be both fighters. Just like
Okay.
a boxer is also a fighter or MMA is also a fighter. They're also
Okay, so
athletes.
how many of them on the roster are taking their training as seriously as you may be?
I would say none of them, bro. None of them. The stuff that I'm implementing is very forward thinking, right? Using some of the like theories of Marv Mamovich, or did I say that right? You know what I'm trying to say,
Marinovich,
right?
yeah.
Maranovich,
Yeah.
Marinovich.
Marinovich. There we go. Marv
Yeah.
Marinovich. And some of the stuff he did with like Troy Polamalu and other athletes that have seen success. I'm trying to blend in some of those things. And that, even just using that style of training, is very like not a lot of people are doing that. So it's not just like the power slap athletes aren't doing this stuff. It's as you guys see in your field too, it's not a lot of people are getting into those things to create more well-rounded athletes, and that's what I'm trying to be.
100%. And one thing that I'm super interested in is, do you guys think about the tongue at all? Like, do you guys think about like what your tongue is doing when you're trying to bite
Bro,
down or anything?
bro, you're giving away trade secrets right now. You're giving away trade secrets. Most of them don't even think to engage or know what mewing is.
Okay.
But yeah, tongue engagement is completely part of that mouth guard, creating like an intra-abdominal pressure in your mouth, right? So that you can keep that mouth guard nice and sturdy.
That's interesting, man. Like, and I'm thinking about it. Like when you were talking about the neck and all that stuff, I've seen some videos of you hanging off the box and like moving the head like this way, that way, like forward, backward. And so it just like it really is interesting the way that not only you train, but the way that like is this is like your mindset to progress the sport by showing what you're doing and giving people accessibility into like the methods of training.
Yes, I'm trying to like some may not see it that way, but you called it, bro. I am trying to progress the sport by implementing some of those things that may have not been thought about and seeing how well it can do. Really, it's just it's kind of dependent on me right now. Like if I start doing better, right, then people will be like, "Oh, let me see what he's doing to be better," and I'll start doing. But by that time, honestly, bro, I'm gonna be so far ahead because it's like it takes a while
Yep.
for the training to actually implement with the body, the adaptation and stuff like that. So it's like by the time they're like, "Oh yeah, I should probably train my neck," and you do gotta strengthen your jaw and stuff like that. It's gonna be like, I'm gonna be like up here. So I want everybody to be able to have access to this information because also just athlete safety. Like I do care about that as a person, making sure that everybody stays safe. And it's if they're training these things, excuse me, definitely less concussions, right? The sport
Right.
looks less brutal. Then you have more people wanting to watch it. They find it more entertaining that it's two dudes battling it out instead of it looks like just one guy beating up another guy that's defenseless with no defense.
Yeah, this is something I want to get into. And like another thing that takes a lot of time is it's still about the training, but the knowledge it takes to even be able to use the training and put the training into the application, right? Like you have coaches out there and whatnot. There's probably gonna be some other athletes that are working with different coaches, and it's a whole thing when you talk about using some forward thinking methods. But what I want to ask you about is Dana White. I watch his stuff. He says that Power Slap is here to stay. Power Slap is like just like you said, it's a real sport. There's real athletes. There's real technique behind it. Okay, there's intricacies. There's rules. Just like the UFC was frowned upon, so is Power Slap. And this isn't necessarily the direction I want to go with the podcast, but like just real quick, what do you say to the haters of Power Slap?
Uh, I just say something looks more chaotic when you don't know you're outside looking in and you don't know the details. Once you start learning the details, just like with any sport, you may look at, your golf, people don't understand the rules of golf. But once you start understanding, like, this is a birdie, this is that, this goes into that, and their hips and their mechanics, then you're like, oh, golf is way more entertaining. Like, I just started watching hockey more, right? And that's just because I understand the rules better. Before I was like, I'll never watch hockey. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing. But now that I'm like, oh, I know what he's doing. Now I'm like, oh, it's entertaining. So I think once people start catching on to it and start looking into it and start seeing the training and the work that goes into it, then they'll be like, oh, it's something. They're here to stay.
Okay, so one thing that I'm interested in is because I don't understand much of Power Slap. I mean, like from a bird's eye view, it looks like if you get knocked out, you lose. But like, what are like the point systems? How does one like win without getting knocked out or without knocking out?
So if nobody gets knocked out, right, and it goes to three rounds or 5 rounds that the fight is, then it goes down to a point system. And
Okay.
that's why the technique is so important and stuff because they're looking at your striking technique. They're looking
Mhm.
at your defense technique. Like when you're defending, did you stumble each time, or is there visible damage on your face? When you're striking, are you hitting like way up here? Are you hitting down here, which is a clubbing foul, right? The target zone is uh, below the eye, right above the cheek, can't hit the ear, can't hit the nose. So you're like right in that little zone. So the closer you get to that zone, right, the higher your scorecard could be. So, and they're also looking at things like stepping foul, and that would be like if you pivot or pick up or rotate your foot too soon. Like you can technically, as you make contact, you can pivot and rotate through, but well, not so much pivot. You can lift your heel up just a little bit, right? Um, but if you lift your heel up before you make contact, then that's a stepping foul. So that would be points deduction on striking, right? And then that would go against your total scorecard too.
And then,
One
okay,
thing I
what?
want to mention, sorry, bro. One thing I want to mention, if you guys go back and watch as Jinx was slapping, you'll see a man who's extremely mobile and powerful. Like you can see the hips association as you were moving, and it just like for a guy your size, you don't look like a small dude. You look like
Nah,
a big
nah.
dude.
255, bro. I'm in the heavyweight class.
Yeah, you're a big dude and you're moving smooth. Like I just saw the way you rotated like that, and it like that's some mobility right there.
Yeah, thoracic rotation is huge, and also just hip mobility. There's a lot of guys that are limited in what they could do power wise because of those things.
So who are the best? Who's the best transition into power slap? Would you say baseball players are like are they good going into power slap? Or like
I,
what's the sport that translates the most?
I
Fighters.
think I know, bro. I think low key it would be shot put discus throwers.
Oh
Shot
my,
put,
bro.
like all they have
Oh,
to do is learn to keep a pivot foot down. And with the way that the hip rotation comes around, and they're already used to doing that movement every single day, day after day, ball after ball, heavy ball, light, like, bro, that's where it's at. People look at it like it's a fight sport, which I get because it is an element of open hand slapping or open hand combat, which is like the oldest form of combat around. Um, but it is more like a throwing sport.
Right.
You're just taking one good windup, making contact.
that's awesome.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's so funny you said that because I was talking to I was talking to my boy before coming over here, and I was telling him that we were doing a podcast with you, and he was like, we were talking about the same thing. He's like, dude, I bet the shot put discus would be nasty.
That's what I think would translate the most, honestly.
That's
The
awesome.
the the baseball like tennis type thing is like is a lot of hip rotation, but you're swinging so low. Like
Mm,
it changed a vector once you come up nice and high to hit a person that's 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'8", right? As opposed to baseball is like down low through the hip drive, and then you go up and out. So
yeah.
it's like it's a little bit more upper body.
So in training, how are you? Because are you guys doing a lot of slaps in practice, or how are you getting to that zone of the face? Like because I can imagine that's not an easy thing to master, getting to that zone.
Just a lot of hand-eye coordination drills, and then I have like a training partner, and
Okay.
we put like the headgear on and the exchange. Like you got to be like super communicative, like very talkative about it. But we exchange slaps, and we'll do some shit like that, like give me 50%, and he'll give like 50%, like give me 30%, and
Right.
we'll like talk like that. So like you got to have a very good training partner too.
Okay, that makes sense.
One thing that I think I think it would actually be very important to clarify and to go into this is like the defensive techniques. Because from my amateur perspective, like when I look at, the UFC, for example, we'll just say the UFC, but martial arts in general, there's an aspect of defense, and from my perspective as a martial artist, it's like this is what I would say in my head. I know I'm, not fully accurate with this assessment, but it's like at least in martial arts, you can defend yourself. So talk about the defensive techniques of power slap.
I think the defensive techniques has to do with your strength, right? Like in a fight sport where you're dodging and stuff like that, it is more elusive, quickness, speed, right? This has to do more with how strong are your traps? How strong is your core? How strong is your jaw? How strong is your neck? Right? And if all of those things are trained properly with adequate strength, then they shall be able to hold their position with that of a slap. Because remember, you can only bring so much power from here to here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as long as those muscles are strong enough, that's your defense. And then you have to time those muscles, right? Using all of those at the same time to when you're about to get hit. So
Well,
some guys, it's just a matter of timing, right?
Yeah.
So it takes like a good 5 to 8 seconds for that system to fully engage. Like if you do it at 2 seconds and you get hit, it's probably not going to hold, right? But a little bit more time gives you more to hold. So you have to time everything at the right time to getting struck. And some people, it's just a matter of timing. They're
Yeah.
not hitting the timing right, and they're trying to brace too late, which is not enough time to fully engage and lock in.
So like I see you do a lot of the work with the ISO fit, and or the is that what it's called, the ISO fit, like that
Yeah,
ISO machine?
definitely. Shout out to ISOFIT. It's a great device. It really helps with like pushing an immovable object. Like if you're really trying to grind into something and help with like tendon strength and essentially like as you're getting slapped, it is an isometric. Like I'm trying not to move my head.
Yeah.
So implementing isometrics in different positions,
That's
right?
kind of that's kind of one thing I was just thinking about whenever you were describing the strength aspect for defense is like, is there a way to train the slap coming in is coming in and there's a reaction in the neck and the face and everything else that is like there's a time frame to it. I would say it's kind of like a plyometric time frame, but like applying those principles to your neck training specifically, like how do you go about like a plyometric neck exercise?
Bro, that's honestly that's probably like the one of the best questions that I've received in any interview, right? Because if you understand the timing on fascia, then you understand it's got a quick timing and you have to train it at that way for that to adapt that way, right?
Correct.
So so I sit and I contemplate, bro. I'm like day after day, I'm like, shit, how can I do this? Like how can I? And then
That's
I'm
me
like,
every day.
should I video this? Because if I video how weird it looks, the stuff I'm doing, I'm like, I don't think anybody's gonna get it. So I have like a bridle piece, right? And it's got like a little hook on it. And I can put it in my mouth and bite it. And then I just take like say it's anchored, right? And I have like a resistance band and I keep it a very light resistance band. So like think like anchor resistance band straight into the mouth, right? And then I go,
Hey, that's awesome. That's
Let's
awesome.
go.
you get
Oh,
what I'm
That's
saying?
awesome.
yeah, I know
Bro,
exactly what you're saying.
there's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
real way to like that's probably like that and I use like the hydro ball and like
Okay.
honestly just strap the hydro ball around and just like jiggle my head around basically. There's not really many ways to do it, and if there is, they haven't been found out yet. But that's one of the ways that I found to do it, where it feels like it's like almost hitting the plyometric nature that it needs to have a stronger neck fascia wise.
How does your neck feel on a daily basis?
It feels great, bro. Like there's never like sometimes you sleep wrong and you wake up and you're like, oh man, I got a like cricket on my neck. It bothers you for a while, a couple of days, or you get on the plane, the same thing. Like I never have that problem. Like
That's
It
interesting.
would make sense. Like, like you start doing like plyometric, jumping and everything, and like you feel springy, you feel like a little like bunny or a kangaroo or whatever. So like it makes sense that you train the neck in that way and then you feel that.
it honestly, it's as I think that power slap is just gonna open a way for people to understand neck training more, but it's a missing piece of performance, bro. Like
Yeah.
in all athletes, it doesn't matter if it's a contact sport or non-contact sport. You should be training your neck just because of the the potential that it'll add to you being able to brace yourself when you're in moving explosively or taking contact.
I think that's a
Oh,
great point.
100%. I mean, I will say I've gotten a little bit away from neck training, but that was something that I was doing 3 times a week, and I had a torn rotator cuff, so I had to really work my way up. And that was one of the things that truly, it's incredible how much we don't think about the neck. It's
Yeah,
incredible. It's
yeah.
and Yeah, I mean, I'm my mind is going crazy now that you started talking about the moving the head like this, like going like all that, because it's true. It's true.
I mean, it's without having a partner. If I had a partner, it would be a little bit easier because someone could go like this, right? And I
Right.
could go, and they could go right or front
Yeah.
to back, boom, 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 right? Something like that. But on your own, it's much harder.
Hey, but I love the creativity there. What is that thing called? Because I know what you're talking about. It's like a little piece of like it's like leather, right? It's like a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
like a little like circle, and then it's straight at the top.
yeah, yeah. It's like a half circle or like half circle like that. That
Yeah.
piece like goes in, and then it's got a little hook,
Uh-huh.
and you just can attach your bands or whatever to the hook and stuff like that.
I've seen
Um,
Wes using it, but I don't know what it's called.
yeah, technically, also cosmetically, right? As I started training this more, I noticed that my jaw became more defined, right? I noticed that like my face got a little tighter, like around here and stuff like that. So like also biting down, the just repetitiveness of the biting down, like my clench is much stronger, my jaw is more aligned. Like there like I said, there's a ton of benefits that come with adding that little bit of training.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing I want to know too is how do you go about the recovery aspect? Like after a power slap competition, like what is your protocol? Does it change, or do you have a completely separate protocol for recovery?
It's the same thing every time. Honestly, I haven't been really hit hard enough to like cause enough damage for it, but I also think a lot about like internal health. So I'm thinking like, how can if this did in a way stumble my mind, if or if it did bruise, like, and that's just these are very loose terms, right? Just to understand, like bruise my brain, so to speak, right? Um, I start thinking about omega 6, omega 3s. I'm trying to eat like a heavy fish meal or something or beef. Like I'm starting to think about a high protein like diet and lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. And taking just like a regular multivitamin, things like that, drinking extra water. Like these are the things that people are missing out on in power slap that are the things that are going to help you elevate just like most athletes. I'm sure you guys deal with it as well, like trying to get the fundamentals down first so they can see that that's the further step to improvement. It's not doing a whole bunch of ladders and agility and jumping all the time. It is needed, but you also have to have those things to really give your body the best shot or the best chance at having high performance.
100%. And I think that's the most over underrated, the most underrated aspect of training is the recovery and taking care of yourself. You can't treat a Toyota like a Ferrari and expect it to run like one.
Facts, facts. Body work, massages, stretching, mobility work. I use the compression boots, sometimes stem, the stem unit. I have BFR. Um, yeah, lots of things that go into it to make sure that you recover well.
100%. And I want to know where did you find the Marinovich training? Like how did this all come about?
Um, so bro, just I study a lot. I study a lot. Like I feel that if you're not doing these things, stay ahead, you're definitely going to get left behind in the world of fitness, sports performance, health. Like it's constantly gaining new information. So if you're thinking like, yeah, I fucking know it all, right? Then you're probably missing out on all these new details that are coming out. And it was just like, I saw Troy. That's why I keep there's like Christian what's his name? There's like three athletes that have only really been that have done great things that with this system, just because I think a lot of athletes are afraid to give it a try. But
Mhm.
it, the three athletes that did do it, and I go back to Troy Polamalu, man. You look at his track record and you're like, oh damn, like maybe I should start looking at some of the things he was doing. And that's when I found out, I started seeing him with the little balls and doing the shakes and the little kicks and stuff like that. And then I think his name Power Plus,
Yeah, Brian McGinty.
Brian McGinty, he started putting out more stuff too. And I was like, okay, so other people are also now starting to get on this train. Started seeing a little bit more like you guys as well, seeing you guys post some of the stuff. And it's like, I even showed my girl, I was like, yo, check this page out. And she was like, oh, that's the weird exercises he'd be doing. And I was like, yeah, you see other people are doing them too. And she was like, so there must be something to it. And I was like,
It's so
like that's yeah, like yeah,
it's so
of
funny,
course.
man, and that's the reality too. Like, especially with people who are not so much open to change. I mean, I had some resistance today from a father of an athlete I was training, and he's like never heard of somebody talking about take the shoes off during training.
Yeah, no,
It's like
that's crazy.
I
I
start
have
trying to explain it as to why this is important. Like I'm like telling them everything and all the science, but it's like some people just aren't even open to receiving the message that you're trying to give.
yeah, so I would tell them, like I would send them to my page, bro. I got one Muay Thai fighter. He's a professional Muay Thai fighter, and I've been working more with Muay Thai fighters, trying to get them on track too. And he can tell from session to session. He'll be like, "Man, I did my 8 round pad work today." He said, "My pad guy, he was like, you were on it, bro. He was like, you were lightning." He said,
Mhm.
"Your reaction time, your perceptive, your pattern recognition." He was like, "You were fucking snapping it, right?" And he was like, before that, he wasn't really feeling that. He was saying like, "Yo, we gotta, we gotta change some things. We gotta kick it up." Then it's like third week, he's like, even more. He's even more. And so
Yep.
it's like every week he's noticing changes.
And that's the beauty about like new methodologies, and it's not even just about, the barefoot specifically. Let's not even talk about how it applies to everything else. The barefoot specifically, like especially with people who are never getting barefoot, all their training their whole life has been in shoes, and when they finally take take the shoes off and the socks have to come off too. But when they finally come out and go barefoot, dude, it takes one session. They come back the next session, they train on Monday, they come back on Wednesday, and it's like, dude, like I can feel my feet in just one day of training. Compile that for weeks, months, it's like exponential growth and an athletic advantage, in my opinion.
It definitely it's one of the biggest slept on athletic advantages, strengthening from the feet up. And now I'm learning, right? From the feet up and neck down. Like if you do that style, you're covering everything.
100%. And one of the things that I say that I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough, how big of a benefit training the feet is for your brain.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you're
it's
literally opening up the segue to like all this connection.
yeah. And like I said, it's hard to get people to understand that. But like when they're wearing shoes and stuff like that, they obviously, they're desensitizing the foot, right? And if you just kind of explain, like, and I try to explain to them, like, when you touch something, guess what that sends to your brain? All those signals through your fingers, and you're touching stuff and you're feeling, and you're like, oh, that shit feels right. Your foot's supposed to feel that same thing. It's
Yeah.
supposed to have that same kind of connection that gives those same neurological pathways that touching something with your hands has. Like it's supposed to have that same sensitivity.
Do you do any left side, right side work? Like not necessarily to enhance your performance in power slap because you're gonna slap with the right hand, right? But like anything to, outweigh the non-dominant side.
Uh, so I was told a long time ago, like early in my career, about the downsides of being too asymmetrical. Um, so I honestly, if I do 10 strikes on my right hand, I do 10 strikes on my left hand. They feel funny, right? Every time they feel funny, but I know it's like a necessary thing to balancing out and having honestly creating more equal power too. Like if I'm training that left side as hard as I'm training my right side, I should have better power when I go just to use my right side. Also, same thing with brain connection, right? Like if I'm doing something left-handed and I'm fumbling around with it, fumbling, it's actually going to strengthen my right side connection and it's going to feel like more effortless and easy.
That's true. So in the power slap competition, like, are you guys slapping on either side, or is it just you choosing one side, you're choosing one hand or one side, and that's what it is for the competition?
No, you can switch it up. You can go on one, two, or three, right? You could go, and when you get up there, you're telling the ref left hand, one, two, or three, right hand, one, two, or three. He'll repeat it so that the other competitor knows when they'll be striking. He'll set his hand for a measure, and then they'll give the count one, two, three. Then the strike happens.
What is the 1, 2, or 3 part?
It's a windup.
So you can
So
either
you,
do 1, 2, or you could do 1, 2, 3, like
yeah.
in terms of,
So
and if
you can go one. So there's always a measure. So you measure to see like the distancing on the person, right? So that your strike is in the right place. That doesn't count as anything. And then you have one windup would be flat. That's on one. Then two would be measure one, flat, two. And then the same thing for three.
is there anything behind? I guess that's just kind of personal preference.
Some
Or,
may think that, but it's
right, that one.
technically
That's what I'm saying. I
it's
want to know.
strategy, bro. It's all about strategy. Um, because so you have to think a three count. If you're clinching, you have to figure out when to clinch at on a three count, right? So if it's a one, two, three, you don't want to clinch too soon because now you still have to hold that clinch all the way to that third strike, and you might tire out, right? Then you don't want to clinch too late, too close to the strike because boom, you're not going to have enough time to really get into your defensive clinch. So
100%.
that gives it that goes for the timing there. Or if you go one, you could measure, and now this person that's receiving has to really figure out when am I going to strike? Because I could sit there for a second and then wow, right? Or I could go like this. I could get my measure. He says, go measure. I could go measure. Ah,
So you can change the speed. There's no speed requirement of the
yeah.
windup.
Yep. Only if you're on one, you could do that. If you're on two or three, they have to be the same speed. One, two, and then boom, or three, boom. They have to be the same wind up speed.
Let me tell you, if someone did that to me, oh,
Oh, no. Where did he go? His phone might have died. Dude, this has been such a great conversation. Let's keep it rolling
this has
because I'm
been
going to send him an
awesome.
invite right away, guys. So we'll keep talking on here and hopefully we'll get him back very soon. But Andrew, just keep it going, dude. Like, isn't
No,
this cool?
like, let me tell you, bro. If somebody faked me out by giving me
Oh my.
Oh
Imagine you
shit, we got
do.
disconnected.
Okay, I just see.
yeah,
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we were just talking about, dude, imagine like there's definitely some strategy behind going about the 1, the 2, or the speeds of the wind up.
Definitely. That's where like it like starts to get tricky. It starts to get tricky.
and 100%. I was saying, like, if somebody faked me out by going fast and slow, like, I would probably relax my jaw for a second and then boom, get knocked out.
Some guys like to go, so they'll do like on three and they'll go one, 2, 3. Like it's like, yeah, it's, and then like what I've been really trying to figure out is like the power side of it, right? So like, power is like creating as much force as you can in the shortest time as possible. So for me and some of my training, I've been trying to figure out like, is there a way that I can just go, ah, like, can I just bring it back just a little bit? Because that will throw up the wind up. It'll be different. He's expecting me to go all the way back here to slap, but maybe I only have to really come from here. I need something that measures power output. Like they have this thing called a power cube that you can slap on it, and then it'll give you like, if I had that, like personally, I could figure it out and figure like what's my output depending on my range of
I
motion.
know
You
that they
know what I
have.
just thought about? Wait, sorry, Brett. You know what I just thought about? Do you remember when we talked to methods of training?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you know those devices where they measure the speed,
yeah. You could probably, yeah,
like the eccentric speed. I'll like send you this guy's page after, but he also does the Marinovich system, and like if you're going quarter, half, full, you can see like you can have like this little thing attached to your hand, and you see like where your power is from each one, and you can kind of train that. Like
another
Oh yeah,
another part too is another part of that too is I know for sure, and you could use it as some kind of metric, right? But I just know for sure that they have like I've seen it on regular heavy bags and also water bags, a system that measures that. I don't know what the if they're using actual scientific principles, but it will give you a power score, and you could use the power score for what it's worth based off of the what it gives you.
yeah. No, I think that's like subjective input. That still might actually work.
Right,
Um,
exactly. Like it'll tell you something.
yeah, no, no, yeah, that's for sure, for sure. It's a good idea. If y'all could send me that stuff after, yeah,
yeah, I'm definitely gonna send you the methods of training guy because like that, I feel like that's something that he's taken the Marinovich system and he started measuring every aspect. So he's
yeah,
kind of
that's good.
the game because like nobody else like Brian is doing extraordinary stuff, but he doesn't have the measurements, like the
He, he
exact measurements.
he has the great presence and stuff like that. I think he's just, and it's maybe the metrics thing, but he's just missing just like this one component of it. Sometimes I truly believe that when it comes to like beliefs of training and stuff like that, you shouldn't go too far to one end or the other. You know what I'm saying? Like most of what we should be trying to do is balance. And some of the people that are trying to teach and preach their systems is like, this is the only way to do it. You got to do it this way. You can't do any other thing but this thing. It's like, nah, bro. There's other value in other styles of lifting and training and stuff like that too.
There's always the purist though. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, and there's like, you know what I mean? Like, you definitely can't negate the pure aspect of going all in on one thing.
yeah. I think that's okay. I mean, there's like bodybuilders. Bodybuilders do that exact same thing. They're purists, right? But there's shit mobility. There's other health issues that come with it. There's, you know what I'm saying? And there's, if you are a purist, there's going to be the same things. If you go pure that style, right? There's going to be some missing aspects in there. It's just, I think that's just how it
100%.
goes.
Like for me, the biggest thing that I see is like when somebody says don't do isometric, or somebody says you don't do like heavy lifting. It's like where does the power for the where does the power for the position come? Like how can
They,
you maintain a position? Like how can you
it,
like
bro, the equation has strength in it, man. Like if you're gonna have power, you have to have strength. And I think the reason why I'm like able to exhibit so much power now is because I was a nationally ranked power lifter. All I did was lift heavy stuff all the time, right? And then now I was like, I did enough time of that. Now I'm going into a next phase, break it off, and like I'm gonna use that strength to, let's see how fast I can move now. Let's see how powerful I can be.
I think
so
it's very
I want to get
important.
into that a little bit. Let's get into your transition as an athlete. Like what was it like? What was it like being a linear athlete and going into a rotational sport?
It was a little laggy, honestly. It was a little laggy. I was thinking like, man, I'm super strong, so I should be able to apply that strength to this rotational sport. But like you said, it's very linear. So my body, I remember like my first week of really like, okay, was taking like the water bag, right? I was holding the water bag and I was just doing like fast, bam, 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 side to side, bam, 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 in like some sort of like a GHD or plank position or anything like that. And bro, my back, I was so tight. I was so tight. I was like, I shouldn't be happening because I'm super strong. But yeah, it's a new adaptation, so it's gonna take my body a while to get used to it to be able to. But the strength was essentially like it's essential. It's needed. Training goes in phases.
Have you ever looked into any of the Jay Schroeder work? Like the
What?
Adam Archuleta, the Freak of Training video, like the Jay Schroeder. A lot of it is it's really good stuff. He actually just did a podcast with Tony Holler. Did I send that to you, Andrew? But it's a good podcast. They do a lot of cool stuff as well. It's just another unique training methodology. It's not much different from what any of us are already doing, but it's just another
Explain.
system.
Could you explain it like in a brief like? Is it like a?
There's a lot of dropping and catching weights.
I actually yeah I do that shit a lot, bro.
Okay.
So like I'll do like a kettlebell row catch, like you row it up real high, high aggressively, let it go, let it start dropping down, and then try to catch it right before it hits the ground, boom, pull it again.
Right.
Or
Mm.
like I'll do some like laterals raises and I'll hold the dumbbells up high, right? Let the dumbbells go catch them. Let them go catch them. Let them go catch them.
Yeah,
Let them
yeah,
go
that
catch
Those-
them.
that's
Yeah,
straight. That's
I,
that's
I
like the
call it
tendency.
the drop catch method because you can apply that drop catch type of principle to pretty much any lift. But I know it
Yeah.
does have a better name for it.
Well, and it's not like I think some people like will kind of make something super popular, so now it's like their name on the thing. So like
Yeah,
that exercise with the shoulders was like definitely, I'm almost positive it was actually even in the video of the whole like Jay Schroeder thing. But oh man, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, and then one thing that I've seen a lot of with them is like they use a lot of isometrics, but they'll use them in different ways. Like there is times where they would do like very long isometrics, like 10 minutes of an isometric position.
yeah.
But like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see you're in there,
I know
Andrew.
somebody. I know a couple of guys, and they train with this one guy. He's like a Russian guy, and that's his main principle. Like think of like being elevated, and like you'll drop down into like a really low push up, like on some blocks or something, and you'll hold that for like 5 to 7 minutes in that position.
And then another one is like implementing an isometric into an explosive movement. So for example, like doing like a bench press and like we go to the bottom of the bench press, we could even do that in like quarter half full as well. You have a training
Yeah,
partner push down the bar and you push into the bar really hard, you can't move it. They let go and then you accelerate for however many reps you decide you want to do.
that's funny, bro. I actually like that's one of my special like the secret sauce in like my striking. Like I'll
Okay.
get into the contact position. I always like try to train the position that my body is in on contact. So like I'll have like isometric something anchored pulling that way, and I'm pulling and I have the bag right here, and I'm right as I'm touching the bag, and I'm like twisting, rotating hips, pushing through the hand really hard, real hard, real hard, 10 seconds, then drop the strap in and go ah, 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 ah. Like
Love that.
it trains both principles. It's so good, bro. It's really good.
So a big thing of the drop and catch method, like I like to do it with the lateral raises a lot. I have some 3 pound dumbbells that I do it with, and I like to think of like the viscosity and the elasticity of the fascia because you're right here, you're dropping, then you have to like activate that viscosity and boom, come up. And it's like you can't let your arm fall, like you're catching and you can't let it fall all the way down and then bring it up. You
Yeah,
want to bring
yeah,
it up right from where you caught it. So
yeah.
like those
That
little things are so cool, you know?
bro, you should try doing take those same 3 pounders and hit some like posterior delts with it. You're just leaned over, kind of like in
Okay.
this position. Think of like bringing it your arm up till you feel that delt and drop. Bring it
Oh,
up, drop. Bring it up,
oh,
drop.
that's lit.
It's
That's lit.
great for that posterior delt area.
I'm
That's
definitely gonna be doing those.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
you
good.
know what's so cool though? Like out of like all the training methods, like let's forget about what's good and what isn't. How fun is it to be able to move in like all these ways?
Bro, that's the part I love about it, coming from like a powerlifting structure and like I even did Olympic weightlifting. I trained a few bodybuilders and stuff, and it it's the driest shit ever, bro. It's like, squat, bench, deadlift over and over, some variation, some accessory work, right? Olympic lift, you're hitting snatch, jerk, clean, right? Some sensors, some accessory work, like bodybuilding, boom, you're hitting hypertrophy, right? It's hypertrophy all the way through, pretty much. And it's like with this, you're getting so many fun things. Like I get athletes that do that stuff all the time, and I'd be like, throw that shit away. Boom, we're gonna try something different. Be open minded to this, right? And they're like taking like the aqua balls and shaking. They're like laughing and crossing them and stuff, and like there's so much joy on their face when they're lifting. And I think that that's part of the key to success too. Is people forget is there's has to be a slice of enjoyability in there. Like when you're programming for your athletes, it can't be all dry, all boring all the time, because they will crash and burn on that. This fun, fast, elastic, like springy, like it helps feel, bro. It helps feel.
I mean, that's definitely the truth. And then also, like, you think about, how, like, we went on to the fun, but now, like, forget about the fun. How effective is it, regardless if it's fun or not? If you're only doing the boring stuff,
Yeah.
does that mean it's more effective? My answer would
Nah,
be
nah,
no.
that's true. That boring doesn't mean effective. I think that technically it would be more like a routine equals more effective.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? If you're doing the same jumps and stuff over and over again, you're going to get really good at those jumps, right? You're doing the same throws over and over again, you're going to get good at those throws. Like that routine, I think that and being able to like that helps with the effectiveness, and then just overall effectiveness. Like if you it's hard because there's not enough research to like really back all the stuff that we're saying. There's like a small niche amount of research with a guy, right? And like a couple of athletes, but I feel like that's the way that like
I
the
mean, I would say
future
there's actually
the
a lot of research. I mean, if you're looking at, if you're looking at the time frames of movement, there may not be a study on like the exact exercise, but
and that's the
there's
sad part.
principles out there, there's principles that are in place. The method is of choice, in my opinion.
That's fact. For us, the sad part is people can't see that part of it, right? It's like they want you're not focusing on the principle. They're like, tell it to me like this. It's gotta fit just like this so that I can do it, and not be like, hey man, if you do like some fast things, you're gonna get a lot of benefits from doing things fast. Just that principle alone. They're
So
like, but what
definitely
do I
one thing,
do?
yeah, yeah, 100%. Definitely one thing I want to talk to you about now is like, because you talked about the plan, right? So let's talk about programming a little bit, whether it be for yourself or if you're in a position where, you have an athlete 3 times a week for 3 months, what is the actual structure like for you? If you're able to do
Um,
that, because sometimes we don't, you only see a guy once a week, but
yeah. For me, I mean, I've had some clients for like 7 years, 5 years, 3 years too. So like I have pretty good amount of clients. For me, it's just thinking about longevity, thinking about strength, thinking about flexibility, mobility, and basic routines, honestly. And if I just focus on those things, I haven't really seen that fail. You know what I'm saying? They always get to where they're going to be, but it's most of the time you have to regress to progress because they've skipped so many things. And it's like, in order to get them correct and get them, am I going to give them a program that's just going to further those compensations and further those patterns because they're not fixing things? Or should I give them something that's a little bit easier, that's a little more basic and fundamental? And they'll see a lot more from that because, like I said, they skipped all those steps in the beginning.
So then with something like that, and it's case by case, you know, it's obviously all of it. So we could address different, you know, context of the question, but like, do you think it's more important to maximize potential or address weaknesses?
I think it's addressing weaknesses for me because by addressing weaknesses, you're maximizing potential. Like if you're looking at certain exercises and you can see that neurologically one side's not firing like the other side, right? And you say, what can I do to get that other side to fire a little bit more? What's lagging, right? Maybe I can strengthen that side, right? And then by strengthening that side, I'm strengthening the connection with that side. And now that side starts to fire. Now I get a little bit more symmetry in my firing. I increase their performance by fixing something that's pretty basic, honestly.
100%. 100%. That's such an interesting that really is an interesting take because I mean it's obvious it seems obvious, but it's not the approach taken by most people. Because like for example, the feet, if that's a weakness, whatever, you're good up top.
Yeah, nah, no, that's yeah. I do see a lot of coaches like that. Even like when I was a lot of around basketballs, like a TSF Nike team, and I was with them. A lot of the coaches will be like, "Yeah, that's just his shot," or "Yeah, that's just the way he does things," or "Yeah, I'm not gonna change it. He's been doing it for 14 years. Why would I change it now?" And in my head, like, well, he's playing right at like 60%. And like if
Mhm.
you change these little details, he could be playing at 80%. Like does that not valuable to you?
I think a big thing too is like when people say I don't want to fix what isn't broken. 60%, it's not that's not horrible. But the thing is, a lot of people look at these changes like it's going to be a massive change right from the get go. But it's really not like that. Like how do you go about this without confusing the athlete? Because like I mean, I assume the change isn't easy for anybody. But how do you go about making the change easier?
Usually there's a lot of kickback. Yeah, and like that's why I'll get some athletes that will start working with me and they'll see in like what I'm doing and stuff and the approach I'm taking. They're like, I'll go somewhere else. I'm finding that you just kind of go for the people that are on board, the people that want to trust the process, and the people that want to go. And sometimes it really is just showing them how, like, it's almost like if I want an athlete to do something, I'd be like, "Hey, man, I need you to do this sprint," and he'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and then we'll race, right? We'll sprint together, and then I smoke him. And then he's like, okay, well, what did you have to say about that thing? So sometimes it is just them seeing the proof and seeing it and then being like, oh, okay, I can see where that go. Or like with the exercises, like being able to show them quick progress. If an athlete can see quick progress, they're like, oh, I'm in. So you can show them like little things like, look, we did this foot thing and you lagged, right? And after you only could do it 15 seconds, really powerful, right? We do this more, we do this more, we do this more. Now you can do it 20 seconds, really powerful before you start losing pattern and start doing like weird things with your legs. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, yeah, I do feel a little bit faster. And then it's like, okay, with that one thing, right? That one little change, you feel powerful. Follow me on this journey to do these other things, these new things, these program things. And you could be the athlete that really stands out. Like I try to tell them, you're going to stand out. They're going to notice you.
Right.
Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that so many different things can make an athlete better? Like
Yeah.
there's so many coaches who are branded as the authority or branded as the expert or the master trainer. But then, you know, there's still athletes in each system at the highest level.
Oh, definitely.
It's
I, I,
interesting.
I
Like when
would
you look at it, it makes you think a little bit like that's
being
like
in this being in this world, being in this field for so long, sometimes you realize that these coaches get to where they got just because of who they know.
Mm.
It's not necessarily what they know, it's who they're around, who their environment is, who their parents were, or something like that. And now they're moving their way up and they're the top of the chain ladder guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like you didn't really take in all the knowledge and really try to apply
maybe
and
not.
learn.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But that's not my point. My point is like, let's assume that the person at the top has a good training methodology.
All right.
Like this training methodology is producing good results. This one's totally different, also producing equally great results. Like, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I,
Like, you look at like the traditional stuff, like there's elite athletes that have only ever done the traditional stuff, like college S&C weight room, and they turn into absolute freaks. But then you have, other methodologies that turns guys into absolute freaks as well. So I always thought that was
oh yeah, yeah. I got what you're saying, bro. My bad. I was lost there for a minute. I got what you're saying. Yeah, I honestly think a lot of that has to do with like early childhood and they don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know about farm strength, right? And it's like
Yeah,
some of these kids are just farm kids. And then they're getting these early fascia and they're getting these early heavy lifting and stuff like that. And then they go into doing just generic S&C and then they're freaks and they're like, oh my gosh, the S&C program created this freak. And you're like, well, did it? You know what I'm saying? This guy was doing this great stuff at an early age. He had no idea that was helping, and your program may have did a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But he was already great. I think that there's early factors that go into making athletes that people don't consider.
Yeah, and that definitely goes back to the addressing the weakness, like you said earlier.
You know,
it's like everything goes back to the nature versus nurture argument, and I think like one of the things that we miss so often is, especially in today's world, a lot of parents, especially like guys, like we want our kid to be what we couldn't be a lot of the time, and like, and I don't know, are you a parent?
yeah, I got a kid.
Okay,
We're
so
out here
I'm
with the
not a
kids,
parent
right?
yet. I'm not a parent yet, but I can imagine how it is. Like from the get go, you're like, I want to give my kid like the best life I could give him. I want to give him what I didn't have. I want to give him the opportunities that I didn't have. But the way that modern society is built up, the way that like we live most of us live our lives, it's not a conducive environment for our kids to end up in that Michael Jordan spot, to end up in that being the Barry Sanders, being the Bo Jackson. And
I, I
so
think I think that just goes back to the innovative stuff that we were talking about is like the parents that maybe are trying different things with their kids, right? Maybe they're training, with you guys. They're training with you guys. They're training with me. They're trying different things to give them the better, life and stuff like that. And I think that's where it's going to be because sometimes, doing the same thing that you did is not going to bring the best result for your child, especially when there's so many new things. Like, just think some of these kids are sitting in Normatec compression boots and stuff like that. And like, they have all these things that we never had
What is your
any of
message?
those.
What is your message to those parents out there that are, maybe not receptive to the new training methodologies that are coming out, especially the ones that may look a little funny?
Yeah, I would ask them like, shoot, message to the parents, man. That's hard because I, I want them to be open, right? I want them to be open to and listen to your kid. I think that's the big part. If you ask the kid, hey man, are you feeling faster? He'd probably tell you, yeah, I'm feeling faster. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not asking your kid what they're feeling and what they're experiencing at these sessions, then you might miss it. If you just think they're just, oh, that stuff looks crazy, but then never ask any questions about it, never ask them how they're doing, then yeah, it will always be just that weird, funny stuff.
I mean, it's interesting because it does, even though it is the kid that is the athlete that is doing the thing, the parent ultimately feels responsible because they're the one putting the dollar.
Yeah, for sure. For
And so they
sure.
do take and like that's something that I found like showing a kid like some different weird thing, and then the parent is like, Is that going to work? And it's like, I mean, look, just give it some time and like let's see how he progresses. Let's see how she progresses, and let's see what they're experiencing. Because
Yeah.
I think like that's a massive thing that you just said. Like asking the kid how they feel. Like we don't go off that science.
Uh,
Science and like this whole industry of the working out, the fitness industry doesn't go off what do you feel when you do it. It's just this study, this study, that study. There's no oh, I felt great doing this, therefore it's good.
yeah. I think the other thing you said, message to the parents, ask your kid questions and time. You have to give everything time. Like you said, no adaptations for the kids is going to happen in a week or two. You know what I'm saying? And depending on how early they are, it's really going to take some time getting them through like somewhat of a general preparation phase where they can better articulate their bodies and things like that. Really is what we're trying to get them to do. And yeah, that, I think, yeah. Parents don't. If parents knew what like kids' bodies are supposed to look like in action. Maybe that would help too. Because when their kid is like running all over the place and he's like moving one arm to go forward and it's going sideways, it's like those are the things you guys are trying to correct. That's the things that the funny things that we're giving him. That's what it fixes.
Yeah, he's running with two left feet out there, and you
Yeah,
get him doing all the other stuff.
literally. They're like, he's running with two left feet. Let's put some dumbbells in his hand, right? And then have him jump with those dumbbells into some lunges. Like it just,
Yeah, yeah,
You
man.
know, interesting too is the fascia stuff is so interesting, but it does get a, such a bad rep. Like, in the end of the day, like my understanding of fascia training is teaching the body how to use itself. And I think that's ultimately what the whole goal of the training is, and any for any athlete is to teach them how to use their body better. So
yeah,
why wouldn't it be weird? And like
yeah,
that's the thing I have said to a parent. I was like, if the whole goal is to teach your kid how to move better in the sport, it has to look like there has to be some weird things going on.
yeah. I could even tell him, and I tell him a lot too, is if you look at sports, there's a lot of odd positions, right? There's a lot of
Mhm.
odd positions in sport. And then I'll have the kid like stand out with his arms like this, and then like, be in like a lunge position or something with a hydro bag or something. And I'm like, does that not look familiar? Like, does that not look like an odd position? Like, you want them to be good in odd positions, you put them in odd positions.
So
100%.
one thing that's I have my perspective on it, right? But we're interviewing you, right? You're on the podcast, so I want to hear
Nah,
it.
let's hear it, bro.
No, but I'll give it. I'll say it, but I just want to ask the question. Like, okay, let's look at somebody like. There's probably a lot of names, but we'll look at somebody like Joel Seedman. Okay.
Okay.
Never mind the 90-degree and any methodologies used, but the idea is that if we can get you as strong as humanly possible, that is what you need to do to become, better. Like you're already playing a bunch of sports, you're getting all those inputs, you're coming in here so you can get stronger because you're not getting a lot of that. So,
Right.
what is your mindset on that is the take for weight room training?
To get stronger.
Just the fact that like you're coming in to see me, like we're in a weight room setting, right? In
Hmm.
the weight room setting, we've already discussed for the past hour how we utilize that time. But the way a lot of people utilize that time is we're going to maximize your strength because you're getting all those athletic inputs from the sport itself.
Right. Yeah. If are you saying if they are in a session with me, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm saying, what is your take on that as the mindset of the coach?
That okay, I got
That
you.
we're going to spend
Weight
our
room is
hour.
for strength, sports is for
Yeah,
getting
we're
that
gonna
input.
look. You're coming to me. Listen, we may only have 2 hours a week. You're only coming to see me twice a week. This is what we're gonna do. Our 2 hours. We're gonna spend it on this.
I would say to that, I would say, why not? Why does it have to be one or the other?
Mm.
That's my question. I would say, why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you get stronger and get stronger for the field by using some of the things that you would use on the field in the weight room. That makes sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
100.
like,
I'll
so
just share
like,
my take on it. I mean, my take is, I mean, I've read every single Louis Simmons book. I mean, you want to talk about getting strong, you listen to the guys that got really strong. And they're, you know, the maximal strength zone was 10 repetitions max. Was the entire workout accessories and all this so they get even stronger? Yes. But like my philosophy is if we're going to hit the strength component, we're going to hit the 10 repetitions. Okay. Take a max. Maybe it's 3 sets of 3. You know, maybe it's, 10 sets of 1, 7 sets of 1. You can stay in the 7 range versus 10. But then that's it. And that only takes 15 minutes out of the workout. We're going to spend the other time, doing other scientific principles apart from just absolute strength.
right, most of my structure is set up in that similar way. Like I'll have a kid do a bench press, right? And we're doing like not maybe like a 5, 6, 7 rep bench press. So it is pretty heavy, but you're still trying to move it with max pace, like your high velocity in that, right? And then he breaks off of that, and then he gets with some of the aqua weight. Boom. He's doing some twitch work, or he's doing something with his hands, boom, boom, boom on the ball or something like that. Or maybe he's plyometrically throwing like a med ball, and we're doing like they're laying on the ground. I'm standing over the top. Boom. They shoot. I shoot it down. They shoot it back up. I shoot it back down. It's very, very springy into our other principles. But I think hitting those uh kind of like that, I think they complement each other.
100%. I mean, I love how no matter what the idea is going in the weight room, it's with the same goal. Everybody's got the same goal, get the athlete better.
Oh,
And like the whole thing, like I've never really understood all the fighting, all the disagreement and all that. Because in the end of the day, like collaboration is what creates is what builds the monster. You know what I mean? Imagine if all these dudes, imagine if the traditional S&C guys got together with the Marinovich guys and got together with the Seedman guys, got together with the Weck guys, and everybody just conglomerated and made this insane system. And we start seeing a little bit more Barry Sanders. Start seeing maybe we see another Bo Jackson.
I think that they did create the system. I think that what it is, right, is you look at which one of those systems like is basic strength, and we get that system. You start with that system for a block or periodization of that time, right? Then you start looking at what adaptation I'm trying to get next. Maybe I'm trying to get faster, right? I'm trying to focus on power. Now I take this system from this guy, and that's my next block for 6 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, a month, a year, 2 years, whatever you do that block of system. Then you're like, all right, we're gonna improve a little bit of that WEC, that mobility, right? What
But
can I get some landmine clean jerks, boom, boom, like I could do heavy ones, you know what I'm saying? Like I think going back to it is every to create well-rounded athletes, and that I think that's always been my goal. Yes, we can make them better, but I think better also means that they have a little bit of everything that they need to do what they need to do, right? Not too much of one thing, like can't have too much. They're just a speedy person and they're lacking like mobility and flexibility and really not that strong. You know what I'm saying? Like all of them together.
One thing I want to ask you because
uh,
it's not that any of us are the expert or the guru, right? But I think we're all on similar pages where we've looked into all the methodologies enough to feel that we can really produce a great athlete and feel confident in saying that. Um, how long does it take to get to that position with the time of studying and then working with the athletes and then, building the confidence in yourself as the coach? How long does that process take?
I've been coaching for 15 years, and from what I first learned to what I now know is not that it's way different, but it's just learning how to apply the information correctly now. Like I can do it correctly. I think that also it just takes a person being pretty like I was in the military, and then after the military, like I went to therapy, man. Like I saw a lot of shit. And having someone talk about that really helped me, right? So that helped me with like being a little bit more self-aware. They're giving you tools that you can use as a person. I think you have to do those things for yourself first, right? Help myself, because if I get a lot of coaches and stuff get stumbled by themselves, like they're yelling at athletes because they're not doing what they need to do, and then a lot of times it's like, bro, maybe you're not explaining it in a way that they can understand. Like you're something with you, coach, that you have to figure out. So you have to figure yourself out as a coach first, self-aware, and then start applying that knowledge, start understanding and learning people. Like you have to be a peopler and know how to deal with different situations that come up. Maybe your athlete's not feeling good one day, or and you have to change things around, or like, you have female athletes that you deal with, and there's emotions that come with that. Like you have to be able to deal with all of those things. So I think it just takes time as a person to grow, to be able to be that coach that can use all that knowledge and everything appropriately.
You know what's interesting is a lot of the coaches that we've talked to, when we ask them to recommend books, it's never a training book. It's always a
Yeah,
book mentality,
no,
like
I
psychology.
like The Mind of the Athlete, Phil Jackson. It's
Okay.
a it's a really good one. And it basically just goes off of like confidence and how to different situations, and how to overcome obstacles and resilience, and learning about some of the mindsets from some of the greats and how they applied that. And then like you could take that and apply that for yourself. Like that was probably like a good book as far as like, a non like training book.
Hmm.
I'm not
Yeah,
seeing that book on Amazon. You said The Mind of the Athlete?
it's Phil
Uh
Jackson.
Phil Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, look that one up. Look that one up, Brett.
All right.
Phil Jackson
Yeah,
book.
we love talking about books on here, dude. I mean, that's like one of the I think it's so important as a professional to just continue to educate yourself, whether it's, training or mindset or business, like just and the books have it, in my opinion.
Yeah. One thing I do know is that I know a lot of people that, and I'm not saying this you guys at all, bro. This is just generalized. Uh, a lot of coaches and stuff will get the information, right? They're reading the books, they're reading it, yada yada yada, and misapply how to use
Mhm.
those things. And that like that's the part is like I read a book by it was Bill Parisi, and it was like on fascia, right?
Okay.
And if you actually read the book, it's not telling you direct information on how to train fascia. It's telling you indirect information about structures and integrity and tensile integrity and how it's worked in other athletes. And like it's you have to be able to understand the other principles around it, like you talked about. It's not like a here's how to do it. You got to do step A, B, C. So
And
being able to go
thing,
ahead.
a big thing too is having done it. Because like for me, for example, I've never all the things I know about training did not come from books. I read a lot of books because I love reading, but nothing I've learned about training came from the books. It came from the experience, and it came from seeing other people's reaction.
Yeah, I think that's a one thing that I miss too is just experience. Like I've trained, I'd say easily over 1,000 athletes, and I say athletes because I also say just the general guy, the general population. I put them in there too because I very much try to train them like athletes as well. Um, and being able to try something on someone, not like guinea pig them, but like, you know what I'm saying? And see how that outcome works out. And then like you have someone in a similar position and you're like, maybe I'll try this slight change and see how it works out with this person. And then like having the experience of working with all those people, all those different bodies, all those different mindsets, all those different things, and having to maneuver and like, you know what I'm saying? That's a key
Mhm.
part of development that's like you can't rush or skip through that.
Right. And I used to say that the worst coaches are the ones that tell you anatomy terms. I used to
Yeah,
always say that. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I had that phase too. You're an early trainer, and you're like, I'm gonna show this motherfucker how smart I am. You know what I'm saying? And you're using the anatomy, physiology terminology, and then they're doing something completely different than what you're saying. You're arguing with them, trying to get them, and you don't change your terminology, and they're still not understanding. At some
yeah,
point in
yeah.
being a good coach, you're like, hey man, just bend your back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Stick your butt out. You're in it.
Like one of the best things I've ever heard online was I was watching this guy. You know who Judd Leinhardt is?
Nah, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay, so I'll send you the link to his Instagram after. He's got some
Bet,
real cool strength and conditioning stuff, like real cool.
bet.
It looks like functional patterns, but bodybuilding functional patterns.
Yeah. How do y'all feel about functional patterns?
Look, I love them. I love them, but I really do not like the message. I don't like the way that they go about it. I don't like the way that they're bullies. They're bullies. I don't like it. I don't
I
like
made a.
how
Go ahead, bro.
I don't know. I don't know if this should be said online, but whatever. I don't like the way that Naughty claims that he's the only person who can interpret science correctly.
Nah, yeah, bro. There was one of the main guys. I forgot his name, and he was talking about some functional pattern stuff. And I just made like a little comment, and it wasn't even nothing like big. And he like snapped, like he wrote a novel on it. And even the people that were like, they're like, "Whoa, we didn't know you talk to people like this, like people that are all about functional patterns and stuff like that." And I was like, damn, bro, nobody can ask you a question. And I noticed that's the quickest way to get under somebody that is insecure about their coaching is if you ask them a question and they snap, you're like, bro, a question should never make you feel that way.
Right, right. I mean, like I asked Naughty a simple question. I was like, "How did you come up with this? There was trial and error, right?" And he goes, "No, I just knew science and I created it."
Nah,
Nah. You see, that's where you lost me. That's where you lost me, and you created a bad taste in my mouth because now I know you're a liar.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it, I'll see coaches and stuff, and I'll be like, oh, why are you doing this method as opposed to this method, or just a simple question like, oh, that, and they'll be like, you don't know what you're just, and I'm just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? That's insecure coaching right there. I love questions, love them. I could tell you guys love questions. So it's when you don't have the background and the knowledge to answer the question, I do feel that that's what is triggering to some people.
100%. Because if somebody asks me questions, that means one, they're interested enough to learn a little bit more. And bro, you're talking about the thing I like to talk about the most. You know what I mean?
Always, always. And that's the thing is never too humble to be like, hey, bro, like I don't know that. And I will do that at any point. If somebody asks me a question and I'm like, wait, fuck, that's a good question. Like you asked me about how do you train neck faster? Like I kept it real. It's like I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out and I'm not sure if it's working. I have a foot in the door, I think, right? Based off of the research and stuff. But I'm not sure. And it's okay to say that. I feel like a lot of guys get too much on their high horse and they're like, nah, my shit don't stink.
Uh,
Like the smartest people in the world, they always say the smartest guy will admit when he doesn't know something.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah, because I mean, look, you can't know everything. You can't. And even if you read every single book on the market, like you're not gonna know everything.
Bro, it's a big deal about retention. Like you
I
could
think
if you read 1,000 books, you may remember like 10 of them,
I
20.
I think
You know
having
what I'm
that
saying?
yeah, definitely. I think having that mentality of being open to criticism and, not being afraid to not know is just it's only going to make you better. I mean, how did we get here in the first place?
Facts. Facts. Good
Yeah,
talk, boys. Good talk.
This is
yeah, this
great.
has been an awesome podcast, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and I think like you gave the world an awesome perspective on training. You gave the world an awesome perspective on something that truthfully, like a lot of people don't know about the power slap. So it's like Like, man, you're a huge personality. You're not just a guy who goes in the weight room and throws around some weights and slaps
Yeah,
people.
and I hope this podcast really does well because this is a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, no, I think it will. I'll probably like put a little promotion behind it. Make sure you guys collaborate and stuff with me.
Of course.
Oh,
And
100%.
like if you guys just want to chat any day on the gram or whatever, just hit me up. I'm there.
100%.
Straight up, man. I would love to get back
100%.
and forth with you on some like training stuff, on some book ideas, all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, whatever, bro. Like I said, I think having I don't call that shit a collective, but like having a group of guys that are on the same page and talking about things you guys love or things we all love, honestly, that's healthy for us as like just men mentally in general.
That's the
I'm
truth.
I'm huge on mental health, men's mental health.
Hey,
So
same here, bro. Same here. I've
That's the
had
truth.
struggles in the past, and definitely will say that the mental health is one of the most important aspects of life.
yeah,
Well,
I
guys,
was that.
no, what were you about to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in the military, suicide rate is high for people after deployments. Like that's why I chose to go to therapy, but a lot of my friends didn't choose to go to therapy. So like, I'm very, like I said, very passionate about the mental health and like I said, if you guys really just like, yo, I just want to chop it up with somebody who gets it, because having people that get it, that shit's valuable. That shit's
Mm.
like invaluable.
And another thing about that too is like the community of people that would be in such a community that we're talking about, like really good people. I mean, really good people. I mean, we have a program at my gym and veterans get together. We have a thing every Wednesday night and it's just like the people that come out, it's all veterans and it's free for veterans and but the people they're just cool dudes, man.
Bro. When you when you've almost died a bunch of times, you have a greater appreciation for life, and you're like, man, this people say this shit sucks, but you haven't seen sucks, bro. It's actually pretty nice.
Well,
That's
guys,
the truth, man.
I think we're gonna wrap it right there. This is just a phenomenal episode. I think we could, I mean, I know we could just keep on going. It sounded like we were about to wrap, so I was gonna shut it down, but it's like,
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. I got to get back to the family and stuff, bro. They're
okay.
looking like they're on the other side of the phone. All of them just looking at me right now. I'm like, okay,
All
all
right.
right, guys,
Well, hey,
all
we
right,
appreciate you guys watching. We're gonna link all your stuff down below. Make sure you follow my boy right here, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Big
All right.
Jinx on Instagram and on TikTok.